a.m. on MSNBC.
Now to another health emergency that we're following right now. It's not Ebola, but the concerns about this virus are growing. Enterovirus 68 is now linked to 4 deaths and 472 cases nationwide, says the CDC. The respiratory illness, it mimics the common cold, but then it can turn serious in children. Shortness of breath and possibly paralysis, some of the symptoms there. The latest victim is a 10-year-old Rhode Island girl who died after suffering both a bacterial infection and Enterovirus 68. Health officials are not sure in this case what role the virus played in the death. Joining me right now is Dr. Lolita McDavid. She's the medical director for child advocacy and protection at Case Medical Center in Cleveland. Doctor, thank you for being here. You know, the doctors, when we look at this, they're saying that the virus has now been reported in 42 states and D.C. as well. What is this virus?
Well, it's a virus that was first identified in 1962, so it's not that it's something that's very new, but we're seeing it now really affecting people. The kids, and when I say kids, it tends to affect more infants, children, and other people who have asthma. So if you have an underlying respiratory problem, those are the people that are really having a hard time with it. And the problem is that we don't have an antiviral medication for it.
Why not?
Because we haven't developed, and there are not a lot of antivirals for what are called picornaviruses.
Right.
This is what this is. The ones that cause, you know, basically the common cold.
It's a common cold, and so none of the antivirals are working right now. Does this concern the medical community as we see the number of cases, and I was mentioning the CDC saying 472 so far?
Well, 472, when you're talking about right now, when we're heavily into the cold and flu season, these are 472 that they've identified as having the D68 enterovirus. But there are probably lots of other people with viruses. We're always concerned about people who have asthma. We're also always concerned about people who have underlying lung infections, and especially children who may have been born premature and have lung disease already.
You know, doctor, if I were a parent, this would be something I'd be very concerned about because, as we described, it appears to be a cold, and then it takes a turn for the worse. What's your suggestion for parents?
Well, like everybody, good hand washing, good hand washing, good hand washing. I cannot impress that much. I don't shake anybody's hand. I only do fist bumps, and everybody knows that. And you want to wash your hands. You don't want to have contact with people who may be having runny noses and blowing their nose. Just stay away from that. With little children, you want to disinfect surfaces often. You want to do a 20-second hand wash when you wash your hands, so you can sing either Happy Birthday or Yankee Doodle or whatever you sing for 20 seconds to make sure that you really get a good hand washing. And hand washing over hand sanitizers. Hand sanitizers do not get under nails. They don't do the same job as soap and water.
All right, Dr. McDavid, thank you so much there from the Case Medical Center in Cleveland with your suggestions on Enterovirus 68. Appreciate it. Up next, guilty. The Florida man who shot and killed an unarmed teen in an argument over loud music, learning his fate in a retrial, and now why Michael Dunn's chances of appeal are more difficult. Plus this.
I urge you to vote against this rule. It's filled with some dangerous possibilities.
Let's show the other states that Minnesota believes in equality for every student.
Right now, school officials in Minnesota are voting on the first ever guidelines for transgender students who want to play in sports, what it could mean for all students across the state.
Brought to you by Ameriprise Financial. More with